Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dive Deep. I'm Shelby Cornett, and I'm the ministry assistant at Cambridge City Christian Church, and that's Danny.
That's Danny. How are you, Shelby?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. We had a good weekend last weekend.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
It was busy.
it was a busy one. Yeah,
But
Sunday
it was
was
good.
busy. It was.
Yeah.
Had a great breakfast Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to the Kennedys, by the way, for getting that pulled together.
I heard Brian made good gravy, and
Yeah,
he did.
He did. Yeah, it
It
was
was
a
good.
nice spread too. I mean, that was rivaling a lot of buffets I've gone to through the years. There was all kinds of stuff to choose from.
Yeah, we did. We had pastries and fruit. And
Yeah. Anybody
biscuits and
didn't come, you
gravy.
missed out. It was great.
Yeah, it was really
amazing.
good.
Yep.
Yeah. And we had Be the Church Sunday.
Be the Church Sunday. So yeah, your podcast today is a little different because
I don't have any questions.
Yeah, there's no questions because we didn't have a sermon, but yeah, I mean we
Just
had
a review.
Yeah, it was a really busy day, a really good day.
Mm-hmm.
We learned a lot about what it means to serve in our community.
Mm-hmm.
So we had 5 different projects. We had one of them that was here at the church, making care baskets.
Yeah.
Like thank you baskets.
Mhm.
You kind of led that one. You want to
Yeah,
talk
I
a little
did.
bit? Yeah.
So we made 44 baskets.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah.
And they were for members of the volunteer fire department here, the Cambridge City Police, and the Reed EMS in town.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't got theirs yet, so I guess this could be like a spoiler.
Yeah. Yeah.
I delivered the fire department ones yesterday,
Yeah.
but we did snacks and we wrote cards
Mm-hmm.
for all the members
Yeah.
for like a thank you.
Yeah, they were really neat. They were really, really neat. And I'm sure, again, we were talking about just before we started recording about how what can happen when you're in a position of serving others is sometimes I think people can take you a little bit for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, everybody takes for granted you have a fire department, but maybe you don't take them so much for granted when you have a fire
Right.
or you have a heart attack or something, you need EMS, or
Mm-hmm.
you have something happen criminally or whatever at your house and you need the police.
Right.
It's in those moments when you're especially grateful, but it seems like in those other moments, you just kind of take them for granted.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully these small gifts are just a way of reminding
Yeah.
them that we appreciate them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of them. We also kind of did a combination thing at our school. So we did some cleanup over around the high school, and then after that, we cleaned out this huge flower bed that's in front of the elementary school. It was getting a little bit gnarly
Yeah.
with weeds, but we got a lot of it cleaned up, trimmed back some bushes, and it looked a million times better. And hopefully that'll be. It'll be a more welcoming environment
Yeah.
for kids and parents and teachers and everybody that comes to the school.
I forgot to look in the school drop-off line this morning.
Yeah, so you'll have to check it out. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was good. We had a lot of volunteers for that. And then we did some projects in the park. There was just general park cleanup, and it's a park, so people leave their stuff, unfortunately. And so there was a lot of cleanup that happened there that I think took a good bit of the morning to get done. And then there were 2 buildings there in the park that really needed painted, and the city asked us to do that, and we got that done, and they turned out great. They look 1,000 times better. So that was really, really neat just to see all of these various projects. And then, of course, a couple of years ago, we put in a disc golf park course in the park. Our church sponsored that kind of as a gift to the community. And so every year we always go around and check the equipment, make sure everything's still in good shape, fix signs and things like that are on them. So we had some people do that. So we did a lot of stuff within about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And in the community. And then there was one big project. There was a family that was somewhat local who had just kind of been overwhelmed by a lot of yard stuff that had grown over. There had been a storm that had come through, and they didn't have the equipment to cut things up. And so our church went over and cleaned a lot of that out. And I've seen pictures. I mean, they did a fantastic job, and the family was so grateful for the work that was done. And we're going to continue to do some more things to help them out. But it was just so neat to see the hands and feet of Jesus showing our community that we're not just when we say that we love God, love others more and more, we're not just saying it as a nice little slogan. It's
Right.
something that we really do.
Yeah.
So
It's one of those, I don't know how to say it other than like, put your money where your mouth is.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you actually gotta do it.
Absolutely. I mean, And hopefully this will be an ongoing blessing in our community. And the neat thing is as we do these projects, we know that our community is really, or our church is really good about being involved in the community just generally, even outside of Be the Church. And we got people that do things in schools and community organizations and clubs. And so that's what it means to follow Jesus, is to love your community and to love others the best way you can. So, it was a great
I have
day.
a comment about Be the Church.
Okay.
I think it's important. It was like an hour and a half that we worked, and it made a difference in a lot of different ways. And it's like, how often do you sit at home and watch TV for an hour and a half and just waste an hour and a half? But just like doing something with your time can make a big difference.
Yeah, it really can. I mean, it's probably something that maybe we ought to be doing every week, right? Getting out there and serving. And a lot of our church people do. They coach or they help at school or whatever. So we need to keep it up. But Be the Church Sunday, we do it once a year because it's a great way to communicate to our church and our community that we take this service thing seriously. So much so that we're going to step away from our normal time of worship on one Sunday morning and go out and serve. And so hopefully the message was received. And we continue that throughout the year as we serve in our various ways. So it was a great day. Thanks to everybody who was involved in it, and hopefully we'll get some more of us that are more involved out in the community.
Maybe that'll get the ball rolling for people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this coming week.
Yeah, this Sunday is a big Sunday too. So we had Back to Church Sunday 2 weeks ago, Be the Church this last Sunday. This Sunday we are starting our new series that'll go for about the next 7 months. We'll take a little break during Christmas, but it's a series called God in the Ruins, and it's based off of the Minor Prophets. And so we're going to go through the Minor Prophets. So if you don't know where the Minor Prophets are, it's all those little books in the back of on the back end of the Old Testament with names of prophets that are kind of different, like Habakkuk.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's on the top of every parent. That
It's
was
one of those where you're kind of like, who?
Yeah, I'm sure that was on the top of your list when you were naming your kids, right? It just didn't quite make the final cut.
Yeah, that was our second choice.
Yeah, that was your second choice. Obadiah, Zechariah, Zephaniah, Nahum, Hosea. I mean, a lot of different names. And so what ends up happening a lot of times is we just kind of overlook them. Sometimes it's because they're smaller books. Obviously, we like big stories. So when you think of in the Old Testament, you think of like the creation and Moses and Abraham and all these big stories. And then you come up to the New Testament. Of course, there's Jesus, the Messiah, and everything that happened in the early church. So I feel like in some ways the Minor Prophets kind of get a bad rap, not because not because anybody thinks that they're bad. It's just that there's other things that seem at least more
comparison to the bigger stories.
Yeah, but the Minor Prophets are there's kind of a unifying message throughout all of the Minor Prophets, but each of them kind of delve into different aspects of that message. And so that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at, like the series is called God in the Ruins. We're going to try to look at how in our own lives, when we're in the ruins of our lives, God has a way of bringing back hope, which is our theme for this year. We're going to be focusing around hope and how that plays out in each of these prophets' lives. So hopefully we can learn a lot and be really blessed by these books. I know when I was in college, I took a class on the Minor Prophets. And honestly, I'll admit, I mean, going into college, I really had not read or done a lot with the Minor Prophets. And I came out of that class very blessed and very much enjoyed what I had learned from God through that class. So I'm hoping that this will be maybe a blessing that we wouldn't expect, perhaps, from those who are going to be a part of our sermon series or our classes, because we're also doing material that's going through the Minor Prophets as well as in our life groups. 4 or 5 of our life groups are doing that this year.
And they're starting this week.
And they all start this week as well. So it's a big week. We start the new series. We start life groups. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to get the ball rolling. We'll do this for 7 weeks. Then we'll have a break for Christmas. And then starting, I think it's January the 9th, I believe. It's the second or third Sunday of January. we jump back into it. And we'll do it until probably about May. So,
Yeah.
so it's going to be a great series. Looking forward to what God's going to do through it.
Yeah.
So.
I'm excited because I feel like I don't know a lot about him, so I'll learn a lot.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
I would guess 2/3 of the people in our church don't know hardly anything about the minor prophets.
Yeah, when I was looking through all the lists, I was like, oh, I know Jonah.
Yeah. Well, and that's funny because in our life group material for this week, it's just kind of an overview week this week. One of the questions that I've asked in the outline is, which of these prophets sound familiar to you, and what do you know about them? And I can guarantee you 90% of the people that answer that question are going to answer Jonah, because Jonah again, it's a big story, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the other prophets maybe for whatever reason don't have like a story like that, but believe me, there are some big stories in these books that we're going to go through. So it's going to be a good series. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
All right, was there anything else from
We're
this
good.
week?
I think that'll cover it.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right, so we'll see you next week as we jump into the first week of the God in the Ruin series, and we hope you have a good week.